What's going on?
Ask me how my day's been.
How's your day been, though?
Yep, that's us. You're probably wondering how we ended up here. Well, let me refresh your memory.
We've got issues, an alarm light, car warning lights. We may have to make a 2.5 or 3 hour journey back to Maun. Another early morning drive. At the end of this drive, we've got to head to Maun. Still having problems with the battery charging. So we installed a 50 amp charging system.
Turn left onto 4WT gravel for wheel drive trail required.
It's never worked properly, and everybody has a go at it and says, oh no, it's all sorted now, this was wrong, that was wrong, but it never works. Just not getting enough power to support our bridges, our starlinks, our lighting at night. So maybe in Maun there'll be somebody who knows what they're doing, can sort this thing out once and for all. It's 4x4 off-roading town, so expecting that they'll have the knowledge. And we plan to spend a few days in Maun, so
turn left onto 4WT gravel for wheel
we can
drive
get it
trail
done
required.
properly and maybe spend some time testing, that we're sure that it's actually working and not be taking anybody else's word for it. Which we've done up until now. You can hear us battling a bit there in the sand, and that's because I haven't turned the traction control and the vehicle stability off. So the engine's computer's fighting with what I'm trying to achieve. But it's off now. Everybody can relax. We're not getting stuck next to the elephants.
Also, we decided that we could finish all the food that we had in our food order. How old is that?
From the Second World War, probably.
So, there were lots of old biscuits, tuna tins, and things like that. So that's all we've been eating. We're not really supposed to buy anything until all of that is finished. Yeah, that's been going quite well. Hopefully we'll lose a bit of weight doing this exercise. But yeah, that's what we've been doing. And now, finally, I think that when we're in Maun, maybe we have a cheeseburger. What do you think?
I think a cheeseburger is an excellent idea. Kitchen 12 pieces.
Oh my gosh!
I was losing the will to live. Everything you might need from a new weave.
What are you doing?
Playing Fortnite. Lots of beer, even colder beers. Farmer's sausage without the farmer. That's what we're having.
Ew! Ew!
We're Magda and Dave, and this is MustBeMad. Not just a name, more a formal diagnosis.
A while back, we sold our house, auctioned off everything, and moved into this. A very stylish, incredibly cramped four-wheeled shoebox. The plan? Travel the world. No return date, no fixed itinerary, just open roads and endless adventure.
absolutely no prior experience in filming and presenting, so naturally we decided to document all of it. We capture the highs, the lows, the breakdowns, mechanically and emotionally, and all the moments in between where we question our sanity.
But life on the road is unpredictable, and that's what makes it worth sharing. So if you enjoy travel, adventure, and watching two people figure things out as they go, hit like, subscribe, and join us for the ride. We must be mad.
Go, go, go!
You catch up with us leaving the Khwai community campsite, heading to Maun to finally sort out the car's electrical issues. After hours on the road, we tracked down some technicians, only to find out they don't have the right equipment to measure the alternator's amperage. Frustrating doesn't even begin to describe it.
What's going on?
Ask me how my day's been.
How's your day been?
Shitty.
I know, it's so bad.
We've driven all the way from Khwai to try and sort out our battery issues, or battery charging issues. And you know the history that this started in Swakop, in Namibia. Fitted, yes, everything's fine. Get on the open road, nothing is fine. It's not charging. Get to Joburg. No, they've sorted it out. Everything's fine. On the open road, nothing is fine. Now in Maun. Nobody in this town seemingly can measure if my alternator is generating the right amperage. According to the book, this vehicle can produce 150 amps. My DC to DC charger is getting 20 amps from the battery, or from the alternator. It's a long way from the 150. I want 45 or 50 amps. That's what I want. That's not happening. Now they're guessing it's the alternator. Don't know why the alternator would go in a 5-year-old car, but I'm not in a position to argue, and nobody here can measure the output.
Except perhaps tomorrow morning.
Well, I'm doubting it. We got sent to the one guy who apparently has got all the equipment. He can test it for you. We get there, the guy's got a little baby multimeter, like you might give a standard 6 student who's showing a nodding interest in electronics. Measures up to 10 amps DC. 10 amps. We need to measure 150. So that's not happening. So as a last resort, I've gone to a Toyota. Let's look at a new alternator. No, they don't have an alternator in stock. They have to order one from South Africa. That'll take 4 working days. Okay? The problem is, Botswana is closed.
Turn left onto Xakanaxa Road.
It's Monday today. Botswana is closed for Wednesday, Thursday and Friday because it's national election. So there are 4 working days. If I ordered it tomorrow, would be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday next week. I'll get it on Friday
Next week.
That's a 10-day delay.
On the road.
And I still have to find somebody who will fit it. And then it may not be that. So it's a $800 gamble. But what's looking like will be the quickest way.
And it won't be cheaper to drive back to South Africa.
Well, just the fuel and the time. I don't know. Maybe that will be an option. We don't have to drive all the way back to Johannesburg. We could drive maybe back to, I don't know, Friedenberg or, I don't know, Mafeking. Something. Pick a town, the nearest town with a Toyota dealership.
Could Toyota not measure the...
No. No.
Okay.
So what they're telling me though is they measure the voltage.
So it's equal
I don't know enough about it,
relation.
but they're saying that my alternator, when charging, is
they're measuring 13.3 volts across the battery, saying it should be 13.8, even 14 would be nice, was the guy's words. Well, and with the increase of half a volt, he's saying I'm going to get a 20 amp increase in amperage. I'm battling to believe that.
Half a volt equals 20 amp.
Yeah. I don't think that's true, but I don't know. But I do think that the only way I'm going to get to the bottom of this is replace the alternator. Then they can't say it's that. And I think that's where we'll be then. So in 10 days' time we replace the alternator and we're still not getting the charge.
That's quite an expensive exercise, process of elimination.
Well, if we don't do that, where are we?
Every day
I don't know what happens when that doesn't work.
No, because currently we're driving around every day. We would have to be driving around for 11 hours to keep the batteries full.
Just to stay at a reasonable level.
Yeah, and that's impossible. So what the plan was to have enough power that we only have to do a short game drive in the morning or in the afternoons, and that should keep it up to what we need. But that's not happening at all. Whew, what a day.
What a day.
Can I split it all? Done?
I think who we should call is Chris in Cape Town. Just phone a friend. I think I'd like to phone a friend.
Who would you like to call? Shall we call Chris?
I think I'll call Chris.
Okay.
This is when you say, who's Chris?
Who's Chris?
Say Chris owns R&D 4x4 in Cape Town.
Very good.
Excellent guys. Excellent, excellent, excellent.
Such nice people to work with.
We could drive to Cape Town.
Okay.
Let's call Chris.
Okay, let's call Chris.
I need some advice, please. I had those problems with the battery charging, and I had those two.
The batteries, yes.
I had the two CTEC units in the car.
Yes, indeed.
So when we got to Swakop after our June trip, I was losing the will to live and had some people fit the Victron 50 amp DC to DC.
Yes.
That never worked, and then I ended up having to take the car back to Centurion and had other people look at it. They said it wasn't wired correctly. They wired it, and then I left again on the trip through to Botswana. And I'm now, I was up on the Khwai River. I've come back from there back to Maun because I'm still having issues. So basically where I am now is on the DC to DC on the 50 amp. I'm only getting 20 or 25 amps from the alternator. And that's not enough for me. I'm using 10 or 12 or 13 in consumption, which means I'm only putting 10 back in the battery. I'm using about 150 overnight. I can't drive 15 hours every day to put my batteries back charged. So the chaps here in Maun, nobody is capable seemingly of testing whether my alternator is producing 150 amps. So, but they're saying, they're measuring the voltage that the alternator is producing and saying it's producing 13.3. It should be 13.8 to 14. And if it was doing that, you wouldn't be getting 20 amps at your Victron, you'd be getting 40. I'm not sure if that relation, is correct, like a half volt increase from the alternator will give you a 20 amp increase, but I don't know.
You can't really make that calculation like that. Yes, there is a relation, but I mean that'll differ from vehicle to vehicle and alternator to alternator.
Yeah. So, according to the book, my alternator in this car should produce 150 amps.
Yes.
That's all I know. So I don't know what else to do. I've been to Toyota to get a price on a replacement alternator. They've got elections here this week, so they closed Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, which means I'd only get the alternator maybe next Monday or next Tuesday, and then a day for somebody to swap it and see if that solves the problem. I just wondered what you thought. What are you thinking? I mean, if all the Victron is getting is 20 amps or 25 amps, or on the odd occasion 30 amps from the alternator, does that mean it has to be an alternator problem?
Again, not necessarily, but that's where I would look first.
Okay.
All of that indicates alternator, but I would want to do further testing. But obviously, it's not that easy. Being in your case, the vehicle's not here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see, you're saying the alternator is getting maximum 13.3.
Yes, and that's measuring on the batteries under the bonnet.
Okay, and if you switch the Victron DC to DC off completely, does that make a difference?
I don't know.
So you could go into the app and you could switch the Victron off.
Yeah.
It shouldn't make a difference. I mean, you've got 150 amp alternator. How old is your main batteries?
Probably 2 years.
2 years, and she starts fine. There's no issues there. When you push the button, she starts up immediately.
100%. First click.
Okay, see, then bad main batteries can cause the alternator to suffer as well. You've added a third battery. You've got two batteries at the back, eh?
Yes. 2 in the front, 2 in the back.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because it's controlled by AC to DC.
Yeah. I mean, it's what's coming into the Victron is seemingly the issue, and the Victron is set up. You know, when you set up on the app, 50 amp in, 50 amp out is what it's set on.
Yes.
I don't know what else to do. That would affect. I don't know which other way to go. Yeah, I am seeing the local Victron specialist here tomorrow morning at 8:30. But he's seemingly more a solar guy than an auto guy.
Solar, they more home solar installations.
Yeah.
And business solar installations.
But maybe he's got an ammeter that can measure 150 amps.
Points to the alternator.
Yeah. Well, the alternator's 20.
The alternator should be running at about 14 volts.
Okay. Well, the alternator is a 20 grand item, which is a lot of money, but at least if I swap it, I know where I am, I suppose.
At the roundabout, take the second exit.
I'm either going to have a spare alternator available in Maun going forward, or I'm going to have my charging problem solved.
It's a lot of money to eliminate a potential problem. It's just like the keys. Sorry, Dave. Just ask inside for Tilla. You'll have the keys in the box. It's just for Novia, yes. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, so what I'll try tomorrow morning with the Victron guys, switch it off and see if that changes the voltage at the front. But I mean the alternator would charge the 2 front batteries first anyway, wouldn't it?
No, not necessarily. The Victron DC to DC will pick up a certain voltage. Pick up whatever it's set to, a certain voltage, and then it'll activate. It's not set up, so it first charges the front batteries and then the back batteries.
Yeah.
So it'll start taking, as soon as the voltage reaches a certain level, it'll say, okay, fine, I'm happy, I'll take this and I'll use it to charge the back.
Because I've been driving continuously, and even when I've stopped at these workshops, the car stays on. So essentially, since 8:30 this morning the engine's been running, so I think the front batteries are full. Everything should be going to the Victron now.
Yeah, but you can do as well. You can ask the Victron guy. I don't even have that tool. I've never had the use for it. But a lot of the home installation guys should have a high voltage and high current multimeter.
Okay.
In 600 meters, turn left onto unpaved
You can
road.
actually measure the current around with a little clamp-on system.
Okay.
So they might be able to actually might be able to test the amps going from the alternator to the main batteries.
Yeah, because surely you just have to disconnect
That should give you an indication.
disconnect one terminal on the alternator and put his meter between that.
Yeah, I
Turn
don't even
left
disconnect.
onto the
I
unpaved
would
road.
just leave it. So your alternator runs. There's a cable running from your alternator to one of the batteries.
Yeah.
That's also the battery that's Earth. The other one is just connected with two cables to the other battery.
Okay.
So you'll be able
In
to
400
you'll be able to
meters,
see from the
turn right
alternator
onto
up to
unpaved
one of the
road.
batteries. If they
Okay.
test the current on there, providing it's got the correct tool,
Yeah.
and obviously you must test on DC, not AC, but I'm pretty sure if you're just the expert, you'll know that.
Okay.
And they run on high voltage and high DC solar installations. I'm sure you'll have the tool.
Yeah.
That'll also give you, that'll also tell you, yes, okay, the alternator's giving out 50 amps or 60 amps instead of 150.
Yes. Okay. Let me see what he can do in the morning then.
And then obviously, it could be something very stupid as well, like connections. So,
Turn left
you know,
onto
you're driving
unpaved
a
road.
terrible
Then
road.
take the first left.
Things can come loose. So maybe the first thing you do is check on the main batteries, on all the batteries, electrical connections. Just do a little, and then over tighten, just a little tool test.
Yes.
See if there's no possible
Turn
loose
left
connections.
onto unpaved road.
Okay.
I had it the other day on a Lexus, like yours, just a Lexus version where the car wouldn't start at all.
Yeah.
And I went out to do Lexus because I couldn't understand why the battery would be dead after a couple of months.
Yeah.
And then I literally tightened up the terminals, which they loosened, and all of a sudden the battery's fine.
Okay. I'll have a look at that.
Something as stupid as that, so just go through all of that, but yeah, everything points to alternator to me.
Okay. I did leave Joburg with my left rear wheel nuts only hand tightened after being at the 4x4 shop, so anything's possible.
Yeah. Ish.
If all else fails, I'll have to come to Cape Town.
No, just check all of it. Yes, drive back to Cape Town, we'll sort it out for you, surely. I will not hand over the vehicle until it's sorted.
Yeah. All right, Johan. Thank you very much. I'll give you a call in the morning and let you know how we progress.
Any other scary trips coming? That kids are good is that's hairy, eh?
Yeah, it was very interesting. We've just got the.
I don't know the bullshit to do that trip.
I don't believe you, but anyway, we'll find something exciting. Then you guys come join us.
Super, yes.
All right, Johan. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
No worries.
Thanks, Ed.
Thanks, man.
Cheers. Bye.
Yes, bye.
From the horse's mouth.
So we meet these awesome guys and they're going to tell us what they do.
So we work in human-wildlife conflict and we screen school kids for ice picks. We go into the villages and we work with the local cultural people and the local community, and we go into the school and then we do a series of tests, and we have a proper optom that's with us, and we then take whatever the kid needs. We pop the lenses into the frame and you aim for away. And then the kid, we try and educate the kid what to do because this is very foreign to them. And it's just amazing. We just have so much fun, and it's teary because we've got all this emotion that comes out for the kids that don't get to
to see.
experience this, you know, every day. So it's really, really cool.
And where do you go? Where do you do this?
Sure. We've been all over. We've done Hawangi, Tuli Block, Okavango, circumnavigated Okavango twice. One in dry, one in wet. We've been into Namibia, Land. We've done Masai Mara and Aldonyo in Kenya. Didn't drive, unfortunately. We had to fly,
Right.
a bit too far.
Yeah.
But we'll go wherever the sponsor wants to support the local community. That's very cool about it.
That's absolutely fantastic. Well done. Thanks.
We're very stoked.
We're officially kicking off the second leg of our Botswana adventure. Our next stop, Moremi Game Reserve, one of our favourites, and in particular Xakanaxa. Let's hope that this time the car actually holds together and that all the electrical bits keep working. Oh, the car. We didn't film most of the repairs because I wasn't really in the mood for any of that. It was a pretty bleak period, but join us for the little story on what occurred there.
Hi everyone. So I see Dave sitting there. I think he's cleared his mind enough now to be calm and to tell us what happened with the car. Let's go join him and ask a few questions. Hello David.
The car.
Yeah, please tell us, we never heard the end of the story. What happened?
Well, from the beginning, when we first started installing a charging system, when we had extra batteries, we installed a C-Tech 25 amp charger. Since being installed, that never charged more than 6-7 amps going to our batteries. With us running 2 fridges, a Starlink or 2, it's all very well. We've got 380 amp hour onboard storage capacity, but we can never put it back. Because you can imagine charging it at 6 amps an hour after 10 hours driving. If you drove a whole day, you only put 60 amps back. We use more than that in a night. So within 2 days, our batteries are all flat. So the idea then was, no, what you need to do is buy another C-Tech charger. Then you've got 2 of them, 2 DC to DC chargers. So then we installed 2 C-Tech chargers, 12 volt DC to DC. Those of you who are involved by off-road stuff know that none of this stuff is cheap, and now there is the labor to get these things all fitted. So now we've got 2. Now we should be doing 50 amps optimum. Even with 2, never more than 6 amps coming to the batteries. Waste of time. So we went from company 1, who installed the initial C-Tech, company 2, now we've got 2 C-Techs. We're making our way on our trip. We end up at company 3. They've got a whole new ideas. No, there's a special way to connect 2 C-Techs. You can't just connect them like this. The wiring's wrong. Change everything. Is it working? Yes, it's working now. Perfect. Leave on our trip. Leave South Africa now. No more than 6 amps. Call them, but you know, you said you fixed it. Company 1, you said you fixed it. Well, your batteries were full, we couldn't test it. Now you would think an off-road shop could have a partially used battery or something in the workshop, plug it in. Is this system actually working that the customer's paid for? They don't bother. Second company as well, your battery's full. Also, massive company, surely you had a battery. No, it doesn't happen. Eventually then we leave the car. It's there for over a month, 6 weeks, getting some things done and some improvements and the battery charging. Now we're out with the C-Tech systems. No, what you need is a Victron 50 amp. Perfect. We're changing brands, let's change everything. Put in a Victron solar charger, the Victron 25 amp shore power charger, and a DC to DC 50 amp Victron charger. Happy days. Leave that workshop. Hardly anything is charging. In fact, we're not getting any charge. Turns out the Victron 50 amp wasn't even connected to the batteries, the primary batteries at the front of the car. This is how thorough they were. This is how sure they were that the system was working. Company number 4 changed the leads. Oh, now it's actually connected to the car. Now it might charge. It's working. You're on your way. Happy days. Leave company number 5 on the road. 6 amps, nothing more than that. Calling. No. Your alternator on your car obviously doesn't produce enough charge. Okay, Google, phone, Toyota. How many amps does this? Well, between 185 and 220 amps. More than enough to give you 50 amps once your primaries are charged. Only getting 6. Can't answer the question. Get to company number 7. Have a look. You know what the problem is? Your batteries. Batteries are giving a low voltage. With that low voltage, it's never allowing any excess current to be generated, absorbing everything the alternators make. Are you sure? Yes, we're sure. Buy 2 new batteries. Those of you who do this kind of thing, 200 amp hour batteries, not cheap, primary batteries, fit them. Off to company number, that was company number 7, company number 8. Have a look. No, it's probably your alternator. Well, can we test the alternator? No, by now we're in Maun. Go from pillar to post. No, go and see John there. He can do it. No, go to John. No. Go and see Freddie. Freddie can do it. No. Go and see Petrus. He can do it. No, Petrus can't do it. Nobody can do it. Nobody can test what my alternator is putting out. Still doing 6 amps. Batteries are going flat. Fridges are not running up because there isn't enough current. Starlink won't work. Nothing's going right. All because of this thing. Eventually end up at a solar company as a last resort. Nice guy there. I've got the new batteries. I've got everything. We're testing. Nothing's working. I said to him eventually, you know what? Let's get a new piece of cable. And we run the cable, so we're not guessing. Run the cable from my battery with the engine running, directly power it into this thing. See if it makes 50 amps. If it doesn't, let's take it off my batteries and put it on your Land Cruiser. Because if my alternator is not good enough, yours might be, and let's see what yours does. But let's first try on mine. Run that cable, bang, 48 amp charging. It turns out the wire that runs from the primary batteries all the way to the back is faulty. No one ever bothered to check that or test that. No one ever bothered after their work to test, does this thing do 45 amps now or 50 amps? The lesson for everybody is, it doesn't matter what someone says when you go to a company. For the smallest job on your car, the only person that actually cares is you. And when you're in trouble and you're on the side of the road or your fridges are going rotten, the person who's got to deal with it is you. So my advice is, don't ever take your car anywhere without yourself getting underneath it, having a look, check what they've done. Have they screwed it in properly? Did they use stainless steel bolts? Did they use mild steel washers? Are they tight? Is everything incorrectly? And if you put a 50 amp hour or 50 amp charger in, demand to see the evidence that it charges at 50 amps. Don't just accept what they say. Invariably, in my experience, when I arrive at a workshop, a smooth talking 4x4 looking dude that knows all the ins and outs, and he can talk a fantastic overland journey, got all the experience, he'll sell you the world. But you know what? He's not the guy tightening the nuts and bolts. He's going to pass it on to a workshop foreman who actually doesn't care if you live or die. He's going to hand it on to a spanner boy that's actually going to do the work. And that guy couldn't care less if this thing works, doesn't work, says tight, isn't tight. Number of wires that weren't even screwed in tight, that you shake it, it falls out. And you know, overlanding, that just can't be like that. So the moral of this long, painful 4-month saga, 5-month saga, is check it yourself, get the knowledge. There's lots to be gained on Google and YouTube on how these things work. Have a clear understanding yourself, because it's only you that you can rely on.
Thanks, Dave. Okay, the last question I have for you, this might take the board, is tell us about the fridges. Can you remember where were we when we were there and we had to eat all the food at once?
The fridge saga, also unpleasant experience. We've got 2 brand new fridges. One we run as a fridge, one we run as a freezer. The freezer doesn't work. And again, everyone's got a fantastic theory. No, your voltage is too low, this is wrong, that's wrong. It's everything but the fridge. I've got a ammeter, voltmeter, multimeter. I'm testing, my voltages are fine. Swap the plugs between the fridges. This one runs fine, this one is still not running. There's something wrong with the fridge. Go on, they give you a fancy app with fault codes. No explanation on those fault codes. It could be anything. There's a fault, is what it's telling you. Well, I know there's a fault because I've had to bury 2 freezers full of meat. I know there's a fault. I don't need an app and a code to tell me there's a fault. Backwards and forwards with the fridge company, basically taking no responsibility. Eventually they tell me, when I hand it in at a company now to be repaired, their approved company, it takes 3 weeks for them to repair it because they haven't got a technician, or they haven't got that, or they haven't got this, or this guy's on leave, or that one's brother died, or there's a whole long stories about why it's never getting done. Eventually they tell me, no, there's a gas leak. The gas leaked. Okay, why did the gas leak? Why did it come out? I need to know. I'm going to be on the road. Is there a pipe or something that's got to be screwed on with a clamp that maybe will come loose again? I want to know, learn from my horrible experience. Now, we can't tell you why it leaked or where it leaked. It just leaked. Well, gas doesn't just leak. It can't be in a closed circuit within a refrigeration system. If it leaks, there's got to be a break, a crack in the pipe. Something's wrong. It can't just leak. There has to be a reason. The only other explanation is never had gas in to start with, which is a possibility, because when I pack my freezer, I intentionally freeze everything in a 220 volt freezer and put it into my onboard freezer frozen so that we don't overload it. So it's going in there at -20, keep it at -16 or 18 for me, easy job. And I think that's essentially what happened. All it could do was keep my ready frozen stuff slightly frozen, just long enough for me to get in the bush so I could go and bury it somewhere. Great result. Complete lack of cooperation from the fridge company. Essentially disinterested because you're out of your 12-month warranty or whatever it was. Won't do that again. Can't wait to bury the fridges themselves.
So we've just arrived at Moremi Game Reserve. It's one of our favorite parks. It's absolutely beautiful. You park your car, you don't go up to the office, you park your car just here, and then you go and check in. We pre-booked at the offices in Maun, and we're so excited after a couple of days in Maun. It's fantastic to be back in the bush and on the road again.
Moremi Game Reserve, just arrived and making our way up to Xakanaxa, which will be our first camp for the night. There's water there, so we're hoping to do a boat ride. Not seeing much game here. It's very dry. As my grandfather would have said, as dry as a nun's.
What's for dinner?
Dinner, well, we have no firewood, which is a bit of an issue. So we're hoping to be able to get some at the camp. If we can't, we might go and pick a few pieces up. Like I said, it's not allowed in the park. But I seem to remember you can collect firewood as long as it's not within a kilometre of a camp. But I could have the wrong park. So we'll see. We'll ask. Worst comes to worst, we'll have to pan fry.
What?
We're having some boerewors.
Boerewors!
What is that? Farmer's sausage.
No, boerewors is boerewors.
Farmer's sausage without the farmer. That's what we're having.
Ew. Ew. Okay. Are you done?
That's it.
That's it.
The Xakanaxa Campsite gate, and when you get to the gate, good tip is to go to this little office and go and book a boat ride. Really beautiful way to see the river and what's on the reserve.
Just arrived at Xakanaxa and it's raining. Just fantastic. Really nice to be here in the rain. Except we'd like to set up our tent.
It's okay.
Position the car and get a little fire going. So hungry, my stomach thinks my throat's been cut.
Really?
So we wait.
Just look
Shouldn't be long, the sun's shining.
Look at the rainbow, it'll make you feel better.
Not feeling better.
Okay.
I feel better staring into a nice dinner.
Do you want to explain why you acted like you couldn't hear me and like you didn't have the key when we were trying to get into the car so that we won't get...
Because you were outside getting rained on.
Do you think that was funny?
Hilarious.
Okay.
This is what we woke up to. Beautiful sunrise in the delta. Chorus of birdsong. Beautiful. Waking up amongst the wildlife, we're reminded that we are the visitors here, not the other way around. As the morning sun bathes everything in golden light, an elephant strolls through the camp, unbothered by our presence. The quiet rhythm of the bush feels almost timeless. Later, we'll trade 4 wheels for the gentle sway of the river, cruising into the heart of the delta to see this wild paradise from a whole new angle. Deep in the African bush, one man is ready to face battle. Not just the bugs, but also Fortnite. Dave?
Where are you playing Fortnite?
The Moremi Game Reserve.
Has Fortnite ever been played here before?
I don't believe that is. It's the first game ever.
That's fantastic. You see what you're doing.
Next stop, Third Bridge Campsite. Get ready to rock and roll.
It's moving off the road, so this car can bounce through here
Jeez, look at that.
before we bounce through. Rock and roll, rock and roll.
Oh my gosh.
The faster you go, the more you rock and roll. So you got to go sort of at walking speed through these.
Alright, where are we driving over?
Third bridge.
Third Bridge.
Looks like there's no support in the middle here, eh?
Okay, that's not great.
No, it's not.
I would like just...
It's not great.
No, and it's proper water here, look.
Yep.
Must I climb out and do something?
Swim.
When you arrive at Third Bridge Campsite, Moremi, this is what you see. A little warning just to remind you that these are unfenced campsites.
Right, the Third Bridge Tuck Shop, and this is the reception area. When you arrive at the campsite, you come and report in here. A very handy tuck shop. Everything you might need, from a new weave to gearbox oil, souvenirs, firelighters, charcoal, a beautifully stocked fridge, lots of beer, chocolates, water, fruit juice, soft drinks, marshmallows for your barbecue, very nicely stocked alcohol section, some sparkling wines, lots of chips, cigarettes, toiletries, general groceries, very nicely stocked, and there's a very big freezer, even colder cool drinks and beers. Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Before settling in at Third Bridge Campsite, we couldn't resist heading out on a game drive, just to see if luck was finally on our side. And sure enough, we stumbled upon a pride of lions right in the road. No way we were missing out on that. We decided to follow them for a while. So today for lunch we're making boerewors and some salad. We started off with a braai, let me show you, but it's taking really long to get some coals ready.
I don't know what wood it is they gave us, but it burns away to nothing. It doesn't leave any coal or charcoal, and it's full of sap, so I don't think that's particularly good for us
So,
to cook over it.
thank goodness we've got our beautiful little camp stove here.
And the best frying pan in the world.
What is it?
The best frying pan in the world.
Excellent.
That's what it is.
I'm so hungry. Let me show you what Dave's doing. This morning we had some visitors, squirrels, little monkeys, everyone just in their natural habitat, very happily doing their thing, foraging. There was even a little buck that came down the path here. And if you just look around, what do we see? Oh, I spot something, another animal in its natural habitat. But what it is doing, let's go and investigate. It's Dave. What is he doing? Dave,
Yes.
can you tell us what you're doing?
You pardon?
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Playing Fortnite.
Dave is playing Fortnite in his natural habitat, thanks to Starlink. Thanks, Elon. We're not only able to work, but Dave's also able to play his favorite game.
Time to pack up and hit the road again. On our way out of Third Bridge, a few giraffe popped by to see us off. We were heading back to Khwai, where we've arranged to meet some friends who have flown in from Maun and brought a couple of car spares for us. Got a tip-off of some lions down the river here. So we're driving down to have a look. It's just starting to rain, a couple of drips. Back in the Khwai River, we were here about 8 days ago, and this river was teeming with game. Everywhere you looked, you couldn't drive anywhere without driving into an elephant or something. And now it's deserted. There was some rain about 3 days ago, and as soon as it rains, then the pools that are further inland will fill with water, and the game then no longer have to come to the river. So there's been a dramatic drop in how many animals are here. There are still animals, just not the quantities we had a couple of days ago. Another beautiful day on the Khwai, Magda.
It's magnificent. It's really beautiful. If you just sit still in a spot, it's amazing what you see. All the birds, all the little bugs. It's fantastic.
In the wrong direction to which we should be going.
Oh, that was the third rescue of today.
No way we can get to a recognised campsite tonight without having to drive in the dark.
It's an abandoned mine. Why is there tracks?
And it was just blood everywhere.
We did it!
Stay on the road.
Okay.